So I just stuffed it all inside and tried to survive. I felt that that meant people liked me and only wanted me to keep me in their lives if I showed up as strong, able to handle anything, never feeling the hard feelings because I was just happy. The part that I missed in allowing other people was the same part that I was disallowing myself. So I finally took the advice that I gave those clients, which was you've got to turn back and learn from what happened back there. And you've got to feel it to heal it. I missed that part. And I've taken the last 2.5 years to do it. And it has been brutal. Hey, what's up? I'm excited to connect with you. I'm Sky, and this is a message straight from my inner eye, all about life. But you'll see that I'm kind of huddled really close to the chimney and underneath the awning right now because I live in Seattle and it is now raining. And I really wanted to be outside because outside just feels so fresh. Today, what I feel called to talk with you about is that process of processing trauma. And those of you who've known me for a while, you've known me through all sorts of different areas of my life, I'm sure. We've picked each other up at different seasons of my life, so I'll kind of give you a brief overview. I come from a background, a childhood of some pretty intense trauma, and even in my adulthood as well. This is physical traumas like being in intense accidents and airlifted to a hospital, emotional traumas like I lived through my parents' divorce and foster care and step parents and my dad's suicide. Like I've been through a lot of weird things, figuring out I was gay while attending Lutheran school was definitely a trauma. Like I've been through a lot, and in doing that I was never really in a place during those years where I could process it and release it. So I just stuffed it all inside and tried to survive. Now, many of you who I'm connected with on social media met me at a time in my life when I had come to a new mindset of recognizing that my trauma was actually the fuel to turn on my superpowers. And some of you might even know me from when I have given this speech at schools. It's like about basically turning those life experiences and flipping them over and recognizing, oh my gosh, this really turned on my superpowers for how I am going to show up in the world and make the world a better place. And I embodied a lot of gratitude for everything that I went through, and I definitely appreciated and lived that belief that everything happens for a reason. And I found a way to make it good. I found a way to focus on what's good, and that was another thing that I was putting together for schools. And then I was in that ATV accident that nearly took my life, and I ended up not going down that route. But it was definitely important to me to find this way to look around your life and focus on what's good. So I had a pretty solid mindset, and a lot of people who met me were just like, whoa, like Sky, I want to be like you. This is so amazing. You're so strong. You're so resilient. I am so impressed by you, and I want to be like that when I grow up, right? And I really appreciated it. And there's a truth about that I don't really share with people, but I'm ready to share it with you now. And what that is I felt that meant people liked me and only wanted me to keep me and all of that in their lives if I showed up as strong, able to handle anything, never feeling the hard feelings because I was just happy. That really touched on some old bruises of some old triggers in my childhood where I was just told to up jump, keep moving, it's okay. It was challenging for me as an adult to feel all these people counting on me and so impressed and inspired by me, which I loved and appreciated, and I wanted them to have more peaceful lives and feel more joy and purpose and inspiration and transformation. Oh look, there's the light. Isn't that awesome? We live in such an amazing, beautiful world. But what happened was I felt like this discord because I was like, wait, I'm not actually happy all the time, and I do have these feelings, but I don't know what to do with them. For many years, I was able to just bypass them. I just took a shortcut around them to this end mindset of gratitude and acceptance and peace. And I think that I got some parts of it right. I think I got the idea of this mindset of like, hey, like this is here to serve you. Life is for you. But I really missed the boat hardcore on something really important. And I owe everybody an apology for ever steering them wrong. I don't really like that judgment of wrong, but ever steering them off course, and or ever making it seem as though all you have to do is choose. All you have to do is choose. All you have to do is choose. Yes, it is true that we get to be in control of our perspective. That's very, very real. It's very, very true, and it's very, very helpful. But the part that I missed in allowing other people was the same part that I was disallowing myself. Now, I can give myself grace for that because I recognize the reason I disallowed it in myself, and I'll tell you what it is in a second, was because of my conditioning. It was just my programming. I grew up learning that, well, you can't do this, you need to bypass it, and so I did. But finally, I got to this point in my life where I do know what I needed to do. I do know what I missed, and I've taken the last 2.5 years to do it. And it has been brutal. It has been so excruciating and isolating, and oh my gosh, there's a reason I tried to get around this before, and that tells me and helps me have compassion for my folks, because there was a reason they didn't want me to go through it back when I was a kid, when they'd say, up jump, get over it, let it go. And that thing was feeling the feels. It was actually feeling all of the emotions for all the things. So what I had done was I had gone through the shitstorm that was my childhood and early adult years. And then I was like, dude, this is so much to carry. I want to move on. And I did. Had a new mindset. But it was kind of like you have a fish tank, right? And you know, at the bottom of the fish tank and all those little rocks, like the fish poop starts to accumulate. And by bypassing it, what I essentially did was say, nope, I just want clean water now. And I'm just going to pour clean water into my fish tank, and then I'm gonna live in clean water, and I'm just gonna tell myself, you know what? There was shit at the bottom, but now I'm in clean water and it's okay. But I never actually emptied the tank, which is what feeling the feels does. You gotta actually take the fish out, isolate it in a little cup, right? Let it be in its clean water for a minute, and then you gotta go take the fish tank, you gotta dump all the shit out, you gotta sift through all those rocks and get all of the fish poop out, and then clean all the edges. And it's a pretty intentional process if you want to do it completely and actually have a clean environment when you're done, with no like residue and literally shit left over. So that's what I've been doing. I finally got to a point in my life where I felt safe enough and ready to isolate myself in the little glass container and then clean out my fish tank. And every time I kept thinking I was getting closer, there was another step. So it's like finally I sift out all the little rocks. I'm like, okay, let's jump back in. And you might have even seen posts from me on social media where I was like, yeah, we're ready, let's do this. And then I would disappear again because I'd be like, oh, there's that rock thing over here that needs cleaning. And then I'd clean that and I'd be like, yeah, I'm ready to go. And then I'd be like, oh, but you actually also need to do all of the edges of the windows of the fishbowl. It was a pretty tedious process, and because I had a history of bypassing it and just going around it, get to the fun part, the joyful part and the exciting part, I definitely wanted to just skip the next parts. I definitely wanted to be like, okay, this is enough. I've done enough cleaning. It's better than it was. Let's move forward. And I think that there's something to that. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it does need to be thorough. And so that's what I've been doing. I have been taking the advice that I have given my clients. Some of you may have met me when I was on the season of my journey when I had a medical intuitive practice, where I was practicing medical intuition, helping people see the emotional roots that were aggravating their physical experience, which is some cool skills that I picked up and realized that they linked with my natural abilities, intuitive abilities, so well on my own healing journey, which, oh my gosh, has been a long, intense journey of some life-threatening and life-altering illnesses. So I finally took the advice that I gave those clients, which was, you've got to turn back and learn from what happened back there, and you've got to feel it to heal it. I missed that part. And you know, I think that we always do usually coach on the things that we need to hear. And I've always known that, but I guess part of me wants to judge myself and say that I wasn't brave enough, but I think that I can give myself some grace and just say I wasn't there yet, and that's okay. And so now I was here, and that's okay. And What's been really cool about this is that I have seen and now gone on the journey that I was able to see once I bypassed and I was like having that mindset that was so solid in gratitude and appreciating everything happening for a reason and the divine orchestration of life. I get to be there now, more grounded this time, feeling solid and secure and at peace, and my ego is now chilled out a lot, and I'm able to just observe more of what's happening instead of getting triggered. And I'm able to recognize the most surprising part of all of this. Oh my gosh, I tried so hard not to be a victim, and I realized I had to actually spend a couple years feeling and honoring that archetype inside of me that is the victim, so that I could actually validate the pain that I'd gone through, because that's an important part of the process. And then once I'd validated it over and over and over and over a series of 2.5 years it's now been, I'm finally coming out the other side a more whole person, a more grounded person, a more peaceful person, a more trusting person, which with the trauma I've been through, I did not know could ever happen, and a more healthy person. My body is now absorbing nutrients like it hasn't for probably over 10 years. My body is now able to build muscle. My body is now able to stand and sit and run and twist in ways that it hasn't done in so long. The other day I was driving and I found myself turning over my head to see changing lanes for the first time in over 10 years, because now my body can twist like that. And then I was laying down, face down, propped up on my elbows, watching a documentary on TV, and I realized I haven't sat like that probably since I was a little kid, because it hasn't felt good in my body. But I'm finally at a point where I'm truly healing. There have been times before where I've had like sudden remissions of some pretty intense illnesses, and it's been miraculous, no doubt. But I had no idea I could feel this good. I mean, it's funny, like people say, I told you I went to Lutheran school for a little bit and found out I was gay there, right? Now, while I was there, I was always told, you're gonna get to heaven and you'll have a new body and it's gonna feel so good and there won't be any more pain. You guys, what if this is heaven? What if it's actually possible now? Why do I need to just succumb to this idea that, well, this is it for life and there's no possibility that I could ever feel good, and then I just have to wait till I die? That's not living. And sure enough, going through this stuff, making peace with the fact that this might be, but it doesn't have to be, my forever, gave me the ability to work through the stuff, to feel the stuff, to turn and learn, to actually release my body. Now, I do have a really amazing doctor that you may have seen me talk about in the past, and she has definitely helped me a lot. She's been kind of like a holistic guide who says hey, I can see your blind spots, Sky. I can see these things and I can give you advice and insights on here's what you can do to shift this. Here's what you can do to shift that. And then I'm the one who needs to do the inner work. I'm the one who needs to follow through and say yes to me, and yes to my body, and yes to being human. That's a big one. Yes to being human. And I really look forward to sharing more with you about that soon. But it's been amazing, and I realized that I really needed that guide. I needed that wise mentor. I came to that part in my hero's journey where I needed the person who can stand back and not do everything for me, not enable me, but empower me and say, I see it's possible. Here are some steps if you should choose to do them. And I have, and here I am. And I feel amazing, and I feel alive, and I feel excited, and I feel at peace right here in this moment. I don't know what tomorrow brings, and that's okay. I know that the past was peppered with some hard times, and I know a lot of that was my perspective and my conditioning and old generational and ancestral patterns and all sorts of stuff, and I'm here now, and it feels good. So that's a little bit why I have been MIA for a few years, is because I have been going through this arduous process of feeling all my stuff so that I can come out the other side and re-adopt that mindset, more grounded this time, realizing I am grateful for all of this, and I'm even grateful for the experience of bypassing it. I'm even grateful for being dissociated for 20 plus years. I'm grateful for all of those things because they do set me up to help other people, to have more empathy and compassion for other people, and to also not hurt people in the ways that I used to because I wasn't aware, because I didn't have that experience. Now I've allowed my emotions so I can allow other people's emotions, and that's what's going to help heal this world. I have no idea where this is going to take me, but I know that I'm really grateful to be here now. I'm honored to be connecting with you right here. Thank you for taking the time to connect with me and to stick around right now. Obviously, I believe that's for a reason, and I'm excited to see where we go. Thanks for being you. I look forward to connecting again soon. Like dirty water in there. I don't know if this metaphor is going to go anywhere. I might have to change it. I got to close my door here. Wind blew it open. Oh my gosh.